Chapter 14 in the book Media Ethics at Work is titled When Privacy Outweighs the Public's Right to Know, the Case of the Rape Victim. This chapter reviews a situation handled by a young crime reporter, Jonathan McFadden, who had recently graduated from Winthrop University and who was working for a local newspaper, the Herald. He was covering a story on a murder involving an incident of sexual assault. In August of 2012, Tony Brown was accused of killing Michael Jamar Taylor in the street after Taylor allegedly raped Brown's 16-year-old half-sister. The Herald's policy was to not name the rape victim. McFadden knew this policy and did not plan to release the rape victim's name. However, he was worried that by naming others in the story, he would inadvertently identify the rape victim, or that the public could potentially be able to identify the victim. In fact, his situation became worse when he found out from an interview with a neighbor that Taylor was the father of the victim and suspected of sexual assault. This was later confirmed by the police as well. McFadden realized that he would have to make decisions that would impact the way that the story was reported in order to protect the identity of the victim. In order to protect the victim's identity, the newspaper decided to conceal the name of the street where the crimes occurred. Also, even though the relationships between the assault victim and the alleged attacker, as well as the relationships of the alleged murderer of the attacker, were all released and confirmed through official police reports, the newspaper made ethical decisions to not release this information for the privacy of the sexual assault victim, even though the information was public knowledge. These decisions were tough for the newspaper to make. They were concerned about misleading the public, which was something that they do not stand for. They stated that they stand for transparency, however, they also believe that minimizing harm and the privacy and protection of the young rape victim outweighed the public's right to know all of the details of this story. The newspaper came to the conclusion that they could not reveal key facts in the story and still protect the victim. The newspaper's policy in keeping sexual assault victims' names out of the story was relatively simple. However, this and other details in the story made the execution of the policy a bit complicated. McFadden said there's a lot of things that journalists can do and a lot of things we can print and write legally, but that doesn't mean you should do it just because you can. McFadden urges journalists to never lose their humanity and to consider the following. What if you were in the situation? What if it was someone you loved? After the reading from this week, I have learned how important it is for journalists to be sensitive to the content of their stories and to think through possible consequences that not only they might face as a result of publishing their stories, but also possible consequences that their subjects can face. While reporters have an obligation to find the truth and report it to the public, they also have an ethical obligation to protect certain victims and other subjects that could possibly suffer consequences and be traumatized as a result of the publication.